Let's talk about being gay. We'll start with the basics. What does LGBT even stand for? Lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender. Some people use the acronym LGBTQIA, which includes queer, intersex, and asexual. This doesn't even begin to account for all of the different gender identities and sexual preferences, but you get the idea. Many people, unfortunately, cringe at the term lesbian and have a very bad stigma associated with the word transgender. Gender identity isn't scary though. What's scary is the hate that the LGBT community undergo every day. In America, things seem to be moving in the right direction. Things still aren't perfect here though. We're still combating acts of violence, increased difficulty getting health care, and even employment discrimination. Did you know a trans person is 4 times more likely to earn less than $10K a year? Some Americans tend to believe that all LGBT discrimination died with the national right to gay marriage, but that is aggressively untrue. All you have to do is look back on the Pulse nightclub shooting to realize that the hate towards this community is still there. And as long as this hate exists, these issues will still be thriving. According to the FBI's hate crime statistics, acts of violence towards the LGBT community account for 1/5 of the hate crimes in America. This number isn't completely representative, as not all LGBT hate crimes are reported. Even more shocking, according to the same data mix of population estimates, LGBT people are targeted 8.2 times more than expected for its population size. For reference, Jews are targeted 3.5 times more, and African Americans targeted 3.2 times more. My original point with this is, despite the belief that America may be a safe place for LGBT people, it's still dangerous to be queer in this country. Think about this. If all of this discrimination still exists in America, a country that seems to be fairly progressive, what's going on in the more conservative countries?
Since the end of February, Chechen law enforcement and security officials under control of Ramzan Kadyrov, the head of the Chechen Republic, who's been running Chechnya for about a decade now, like his own private fiefdom with the blessing of the Kremlin, have been rounding up gay men as part of an apparent anti-gay purge, a purge which was sanctioned by Chechen leadership. Their victims are taken to unlawful detention centers. In those unlawful detention centers, they're beaten, they're electrocuted, and under torture, they're forced to provide names of other gay individuals. And that's how dozens and dozens, presumably over 100 men, were detained. And some of those individuals forcibly disappeared. Others were returned to their relatives after a certain period of detention, and the relatives were shamed for having homosexuals in their families and effectively encouraged by Chechen officials to carry out honor killings. Now, this situation is devastating, and what needs to be done is for Russia's key international interlocutors to maintain pressure on the Kremlin, to urge the Kremlin to put a resolute end to that anti-gay purge, so that it stops once and for all. We call on Western governments to do their utmost to give sanctuary to the victims in their respective territories, because those people are not safe in Russia.
This is real. This is happening right now in Russia. That video was published May 2nd, 2017. This strongly parallels the Holocaust, which ended in 1945. We look back on that tragic event, and we wonder how it went on for so long. The cruelty, the torture, the lack of humanity, yet here we are, in a similar position, and people don't even know that it's happening. The best way that we can combat this is through knowledge. The knowledge itself may not end this injustice, but how else could this end when nobody knows that it's even happening? Another thing that Tanya Lakshina mentioned in the video is the importance of taking in refugees. of giving these gay men of Russia a safe place to be when in their own home only lies cruelty and torture. Though many people watching this can't take in a refugee, we can make noise. We can talk about this and get people interested, get them knowing that this is happening. And once we do that, if the noise is loud enough, it can't be ignored. Something has to happen if everybody cares about this. The bottom line is, no matter how you feel about the LGBT community, this is inhumane. This is more than inhumane. This is evil in the purest sense of the word, and it must be stopped. These people are getting their rights taken away, their lives taken away, simply because of who they love. I wish that I could say Russia is the only place where this injustice is happening, but that wouldn't be true. On May 12, 2017, a gay couple in a province in Indonesia were arrested for their relationship, recommending each boy got 80 lashes, 20 less than the maximum. This was completely legal. May 3rd, 2017. Male individuals in Tunisia accused of a homosexual relationship or suspected of a homosexual relationship are detained and undergo a discredited test where officers insert either fingers or an object into the male's anus. After doing this, they attempt to completely unscientifically determine whether or not the male has partaken in anal sex. They are accused, they are arrested. April 18, 2017, in Spain. Refugees are beaten at an LGBT asylum. These are human beings, and they're being treated like animals. They're being punished because of their identity. At the end of the day, whether it's a muttered slur or a mass shooting, all of this stems from a hatred, this intense hatred towards this community. Solving this issue is big. It can't be solved in a day or a year or maybe not ever. There isn't one solution to ending the hate and prejudice towards this community, but education helps. If people are aware of how awful things are for this particular group, they may find some compassion. And if children are raised with knowledge of the LGBT community, maybe they won't grow up hateful. With knowledge of the community and awareness of the things that they have to go through, you might be able to make a better future. Maybe one day we can overcome the discrimination and injustice that the LGBT community has to face.